Om. Let me just remove the backdrop. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarasandhakaro Vaikukarasanivartakah Andhakara-nirodhitvat Gururitya-vidiyate. You can hear me fine, right? Audio okay?
Yes, yes, clear.
Hello?
Okay, Guruji.
Yes, Ji, clear.
Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnayama Devaha Bhadram Pashyamakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtvagum Sastanobhihi Nishema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti na Starksho Arishtanemihi Swasti na Brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Prajnanam Shupratanaihi Sthirajaranikaravvyapibhirvyapya lokan Bhuktva bhogan stavishtan Punarapi dishanodbhasitan Kamajanyan Pītva sarvan visheshan Swapati madhurabhung Mayaya bhojayannaha Maya sankhyaturiyam Paramamritamajam Brahmayatannatosmi. Swapnamaye yatha drishte Gandharvanagaram yatha Tata vishwamidam drishtam Vedanteshu vichakshanaihi Nanirodho na chotpattihi na baddho na cha sadhakaha na mumukshurvai na muktaha ityesha paramarthata. We were at the concluding verses of the Vaitatya Prakaranam, which is the second Prakaranam of the Mandukya Karika. So, the non-reality of Dvaitam is the topic of discussion through logic. That is the whole idea here. So just by just looking at the world, can it be established that Dvaitam is not real? That is the approach taken in this Prakarana. So the concluding verses, we are almost in the final verses of this Prakaranam. I think we stopped with Nanirodho Nachotpattihi discussion, but let's just, because we had a gap, we can just catch up with one verse ahead, prior, so that we can get the context of discussion. Swapnamaye yatha drishte Gandharva nagaram yatha Tatha Vishwamidam Drishtam Vedanteshu Vichakshanaihi. So a simile or an example is used of Gandharva Nagara, a imaginary world seen on the sky. When the cloud formations are there, then you see as though there is, if you look at the sky, and you see a formation and some movements there. So people imagine that there is a world which is there up there in the heavens beyond the clouds, especially in those days when there were no aircraft and all that. So people looking at the naked sky will imagine. That is how we need to understand this Gandharva Nagaram. Yathacha Bhashyakara Prasarita Panya Apana Griha Prasada Sri Punjanapada Vyavahara Akirnamiva Gandharva Nagaram Drishyamanameva Sati. This Gandharva Nagara, the imaginary world which is seen in the sky. What does it contain? You see as though there are shops, there are people trading, then there are houses, and then there are big buildings, palaces, prasadam. Then there are ladies there who are coming there to shop in the streets and the shops, and also men, Tripum. So there are women folks who are selling, who are buying. There are men folks who are buying, selling. There are kids who are running around. So you see all that in that formation. Imagined. Janapada, there are streets with shops on both sides. Vyavahara Akirnamiva Gandharva Nagaram. All this buzzing with activities, this kind of a Gandharva Nagara. Drishyamanameva Sate Akasmat Abhavatam Gatam Drishtam. Suddenly there is a blow of wind, and these clouds dissipate away. Similarly, Yathacha Swapnamaye Drishte Asadrupe. Similarly, there are dreams in your own sleep which seemingly is real when they are happening, but suddenly when somebody wakes you up, and then you find out that the dreams are asat, non-real. Tata Vishwamidam Dvaitam Samastam Asad Drishtam. Similarly, you have been through these lives, and even within this life, so many years of experience, you see a very tangible, real world in front of you, and you as a tangible entity transacting with this world which is visibly so real. When this jnanam takes place, when you just recognize what is the truth of all this, then this whole world ceases to exist. In fact, it ceases to have been even real. So the jnanam takes place that there was never this kind of a real jagat, and there was never this real individual me. So this Vyashti Samashti and all these world that I was experiencing, it is not there, it was never there, it will never be there. So like this Gandharva Nagara dissipates at the dawn of this knowledge, everything dissipates from a reality perspective. I mean, then you can always ask, how does a jnani do a vyavahara? Even doing a vyavahara, in his recognition, the cognition, the satta of the jagat is gone. There is no real world, and there is no real individual me. So I can't say there is no real me. Then what is Brahman, right? So the individual as opposed to all the other things, that is no more there. So Swapnasya Maya cha Swapnamaye Asadvastu Atmike Satyau Sadvastu Atmike Iva Lakshyete Avivekibihi. Only ignorant means everybody, right? The people who don't have knowledge, that is like 99.9999, I don't know how many 9% of all the thinking people who exist. So that is avivekibihi, the one who don't have knowledge. They see this as sat, and the people who gain knowledge see the whole world as asat, as it is sat in the form of the swarupa, the brahmatmana sadeva, but jagatatmana mithya eva. Dependent reality, you can call it as dependent or empirical reality, right? But paramartataha na satyam va ityaha. Then the second part, adrishtam, it says, right, dvaitam samastam asadrishtam, and then he says vishwamidam drishtam vedanteshu vichakshanaihi. Drishtam asadrishtam vishwamidam, the whole world is seen as shown, or shown as unreal and seen as unreal by the people. Then where is it shown? Vedanteshu. What are the vakyas? See, this Vedanteshu is important. Why? Because this jnanam is gained only through pramana. You can, the logic can take you up till a certain place, but the vision is through the Shravana only. Only Shastra comes and shows that how is it a fact that all that which exists here is one Sadvastu alone, and that Sadvastu is nothing but your Nyapti Swarupa. How is it shown? It is shown by Shastra. Then you can ask the question, why do you need logic then? Logic is only to assimilate this knowledge. Assimilation of the Vedic Vedanta Jnanam happens through the logic which goes with it. Shrutimatas tarkonusandhiyatam. The Shruti Sammata Tarka, the Vedanta Sammata, whatever is revealed by Veda or Vedanta, for you to assimilate it, you need Tarka or certain, augmenting logical support, because you will have some questions, some of your own mental conflicts, and some questions which are raised by people around you, which actually eventually becomes a question in your own mind. They need to be clarified, because certain things, if it comes in conflict with the Vedanta Jnana, you need a resolution for it, so that the Jnanam becomes an ascertained Jnanam, a clinched knowledge. So for it to be that way, you need all this supporting logic, Nyaya. But the Drishti, the Darshanam, or cognition of the Swarupa is through Vedanta Vakya only, because there is a prakriya. There is a prakriya by which Shastra shows you this, gives you this vision. And also at the time of gaining this vision, you need to have suspended your ahankara, your individuality, so that this knowledge takes place, which actually falsifies your own individuality. So in order for your individuality to be falsified, it can't interfere in this pursuit. Therefore, only when you are doing Shravanam, when the Shastra Jnanam is being expounded, if you suspend your individuality and expose yourself to this Jnanam, then only the Jnanam can take place, because it is about your Swarupa. When you are individually pursuing it, you have already assumed yourself to be an individual. So it can never be obtained in a pursuit when you are doing it Swatantriyena. That is why Bhashyakara says Swatantriyena Atmanveshanam na kuryat. So Vedanteshu is very important. So Shastra Vakya is what is giving this knowledge. Therefore, na iha nana asti kinchana. So nana iha nasti. This cognition that is going on, which shows you so many things. There are like innumerable objects which are being perceived. Shastra comes and says, Naiha, Asti, Nana. Now the question is, just because Shastra says, does it mean they don't exist? Shastra doesn't stop with just saying Nana, Asti, Kinchana, but it also has a methodology to show that whatever Nana that you are seeing is nothing but Vachalambanam, Vikaro Namadheyam, Mrittika Ityeva Satyam. Similarly, Sadeva Satyam, Sadeva Saumya Idam Agra Asit. That for Sat alone is the only thing which exists. There is no Nana. Then the question is that Sat also like an Idam? Is it a discognition like this Nana Jagat? So, Tattvamasi, Tat Satyam Sa Atma, Tattvamasi. No, it is not a discognition. It is the I. It is the essence of I. It is, in fact, it is the content of all cognitions. Therefore, Shastra reveals that. Indro Maya Bhihi Pururupayate Bahurupayate. So it is the same Sadvastu that has become all this. That means this all this is nothing but the Sadvastu alone. Atmaiva idam agre asit. Again, this agre asit, Atmaiva. Time wise also, all. So it is not only now that everything is Brahman. In fact, at all times, all that is there is Brahman. And this all times also, time is nothing but Brahman. There is time is what? What is a time? Time is also a superimposition of on the moment, the present. And what is the present? Is your Astittvameva, Sadeva, Satta Eva Asti. So this Agre, all these things are like, just figurative expression. There is no before or in the beginning. What is in the beginning? In the beginning means we are talking about a stretch of time. Within, it's a function of time. But time itself is it's not an independent reality. It is dependent on Brahma. Therefore, spatially, time-wise, object-wise, all that is there is Atma Eva. Iti Shastra vision. Brahmaiva idam agre asit. Again, Brihadaranyaka. So, Atma and Brahman is the same. Brahma asit, Atma asit. Dvitiyadbhai bhayam bhavati. So, the Abhayaprada is the Shruti. It is giving the refuge. But how? Through the Jnanam. And what is this Jnanam? There is no Dvaitam. Because Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. Udaramantaram kurute ata tasya bhayam bhavati. So there is no second. What is there to fear? And fear is of what? Of destruction. Destruction means you should have attributes. You should be bound by time. So the time itself, like we just saw, that time has no entity on its own. Time is just a superimposition on the present. And the present is nothing but Chidvastu, Sadvastu. So there is no question of Atma being subject to time. Therefore, there is no destruction. Destruction is not possible. So where is the source of Bhayam? Something is going to hurt me. Hurt what? What is a hurt? Hurt means I'll gain some pain, or I'm going to emotionally struggle. Somebody is going to create an emotionally non-conducive situation. So those are causes of Bhaya, fear, because I will be overpowered by something emotionally or physically or whatever. Those are causes of Bhaya, or that I will die. So all that is not possible with the Brahmavastu, because it can't become a karma. It can't become an object. It never becomes an object of experience. It is always the subject. It is never the object. It is never known through this. So when it can't be a karma, when it can't be an object, So what can hurt it? So, and it is beyond mind. The mind itself is lighted up by my Atma Vastu. Bhashyakara is going to talk about absence of mind and all in the next Karika Bhashya. So there is no mind also. So the dukkha, emotional hurt and all that is not possible for Atma Vastu. So you recognize there is Atma as you, then all this is not there. It is all in the buddhi and is focused on this individual. All the dukkha. Natu tad dvitiyamasti. Yatra tu asya sarvam atmaiva abhut. So all of them more or less from different Shruti Upanishads is quoting, mostly Brihadaranyaka. But all of them are alluding to the same point that all that is here is Brahma and there is no second. Ityadi vichakshanaihi nipunatara vastudarshivihi. Vichakshanaihi, the one who see well, see properly. The jnana for them is complete. Therefore, Bhashyakara translates it as Nipunatara Vastudarshibihi. The Vastu Darshanam also is in different stages. That's what it means here. So initially you gain some jnana. Okay, oh, maybe this is what is Atma. Okay. I keep saying this object, subject, okay, this is probably what it is. And slowly the clarity increases. See, I always say this. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am an individual Atma is very easy to gain, right? At least you can logically arrive at it. That because I objectify this world, I am not this world. Because I objectify this body, I am not this body, right? Because I objectify this mind, I am not this mind. That is at least easy. Now, where it becomes difficult is, whatever I said, this is not me. Okay. Actually, I am saying I am not this, right? I am not this book. I am not this chair. I am not this body. But then this chair is me. That is where then Sarvatma, right? Then chair is me, book is me, body is me, sun is me, moon is me, Ishvara is me, right? Then how does that happen, right? That is where we have a problem. This Deha Vyatiriktha Atma is easy to arrive at. Who am I? You can, to some extent arrive at it. But how is this book which is outside me also me? That is where this jnanam becomes difficult to gain. Once that is gained, then the whole Satya Mithya is understood. Then all that is here is you is recognized easily. It's about Satya Mithya. Satyam and Mithya have to be clearly, because for a book to, let's say this is a book, okay. Now this book, I am seeing this book. Suppose there is Advaitam, okay. So only this cognition book, which is a inert thing, should exist, or the knower of the book has to exist. Both, if they exist, it's not Advaitam. Now let's say you have to choose between which one has to exist, right? For the book to exist, to even say that this inert object exists, it needs to be cognized by a conscious entity. Recognition of book is more essential. If suppose there is no conscious being and there is only book that exists, can you even say that book exists? So what is book? It is a pink colored and something hard to touch, something which smells like a rose, something which looks like a shape of. So all this is what? A form that I am seeing, a touch I am feeling, a smell that. So all of this is a matter thing of conscious, cognition. So I am cognizing a shape, I am cognizing a form, I am cognizing a touch, I am cognizing a smell. So without it being cognized, the very statement that book exists is not possible. So if I have to choose, but then for this I, Swarupa, to exist, do I need a book? No. So between the two, suppose I have to choose, the conscious entity and the inert object, which can be the Advaitam, which can be the one entity, which should be the one entity which has to exist. It is only the conscious entity. Therefore, Advaitam means it has to be only conscious. It can never be inert alone exist. Because even to make that statement, you need a consciousness. Now, what is this? Why I'm talking about it is this drishti. This is what is called. Then what we spoke about book is applicable for the chair. It is applicable for the table. It is applicable for this body. It is applicable for the sun and the moon. Correct? There is no difference. What is the difference between this book and that moon? The moon is also known through this cognition. Same way the book was known. Therefore, all that is perceivable as tangible objects, forget emotion, anger, and all that for now. Just the tangible objects. Okay, between the tangible objects and the knower of tangible objects, the tangible objects need the knower of tangible object for its own existence, reality. Now, therefore, all that is here, what is Satyam and what is Mithya? That which is dependent on another thing is Mithya. That which doesn't need anything for its existence is Satyam. So the book and the sun and the moon and the chair and the mountains are Mithya. And the Satta which is making them lighted up, which is my Swarupa, is Satyam. Now, once you recognize that, then all that exists is only the Satyam can be arrived at. Now, this is what increasing clarity. Initially, it is I am not this body. Then eventually, this body is not separate from me. Not the actual way this body exists, but the bodiness is superimposed on my vritti, my cognition of the body. So the vritti alone exists. There is nothing called body. And the vritti also, the vrittitvam is mithya. The content of the vritti is my swarupa. That alone exists. Now this is what? Increasing knowledge. So nipunatara vastu darshivihi. Somebody who has a very clear recognition of what is the vastu. Vastu means is, that which exists. There is only one thing that exists, which is Atma Vastu. That is the Vastu. Vastu Darshibihi, one who has the cognition, clarity of what is. They are Vichakshanaihi, Panditaihi. By those people, Drishtaha. Tamaswabhranibham Drishtam Varsha Budbhudasam Sannibham Nashaprayam Sukadhinam Nasottaram Abhavagam. So this Dvaita Jagat Vyasa Smriti says it is like the crack in the ground which is in darkness. Tamaswabhranibham, the crack in the ground covered by the darkness. It is like that. Varsha Budbhuda Sannibham, the bubbles which are formed when the rain falls, they just burst away in no time. Like that, this whole thing is an ignorant byproduct of your ignorance and superimposition. Not only individual ignorance, but it is Ishvara Srishti. Nashaprayam Sukadhinam. So it attains Nasha, and it is devoid of any Sukham, because all the time you are kicked around in search of happiness. You are always in pursuit, running behind so many things in the Jagat. Nasottaram Abhavagam. So we saw that na nirodho na chodpattihi na baddho na cha sadhakaha na mumukshurna vaimuktaha ityesha paramarthata prakaranarthaha prakaranartha upasamhararthaha yam shlokaha. So this shloka is the concluding. It is summarizing, is what Bhashyakara says. So na nirodha na cha utpattihi. Nirodha means pralaya, that which is resolution. And then na utpattihi, na creation, na baddha, it is not the one which is bound. Atma is not bound. Na sadhakaha, it is not a mumukshu. It is not a sadhaka, the one who is seeking, who is doing sadhana. For what? Siddhi. Sadhana means towards a siddhi. So a means to attain a siddhi. Siddhi, jnana siddhi. It's not somebody who is pursuing. We'll see in detail anyway. Na mumukshuhu, it is not the one who is a seeker. Na muktaha, the one that is liberated. It's yesha paramarthata. If you finally see the paramartha drishtya, looking it from the standpoint of Brahmavastu, like from the standpoint of clay, you can say it is na gataha. Okay, it is not the lid, it is not the jar, it is not tandulaha, whatever, right? It's not like the rice which is inside it. Anything you can say, because all that is there is only clay. Similarly, from the drishti of vastu, it is there is no srishti, there is no pralaya, there is no jiva, there is no bondage. If there is no bondage, then there is no moksha, there is nothing. Okay, that is drishti. See, that is the thing, right? Then what is the use of that statement if you don't even understand? But still, you have to recognize, this is the final state. When the jnanam is gained, this is what it is. But we don't start the teaching this way because this kind of a thing is not recognized. Just because I say there is no jagat, you are not going to understand that, right? There is no dvaitam. Even though you are seeing a wall, there is no wall. Suppose I just make this statement. What is the use of that statement? You can't assimilate that knowledge. So usually there is a prakriya to show how it is. But here it is a final state also need to be told. Therefore, Karikakara says na nirodha. Also this neti neti, you have to recognize how it is na nirodha. That is also an use of this statement. Okay. Yada vitatam dvaitam atma eva ekaha paramarthatah sanne sada idam nishpannam bhavati. So if dvaitam is vitatam, that is this prakarana, vaitatya prakarana. So if there is no dvaitam here, then what is it shunya? No, atma eva ekaha. So there is only atma which alone is there. So if that is the thing, then you can conclude this way. Conclude what? Sarvoyam laukikaha vaidikasya vyavaharaha avidya vishayaha eveti. All this laukika vyavahara and vaidika vyavahara that is there, all of them avidya vishayaha eva. So vaidika vyavahara also, yes. See, this is not acceptable for many of the Vaidika Sampradaya people. Okay. The Vaidika Vyavahara, Laukika Vyavahara, people will agree, okay, that's fine. If it is, if the Laukika Vyavahara is all Avidya Vishaya, fine. But how can you say Vaidika Vyavahara also is Avidya Vishaya? Because for you, Veda is Pramana and Veda is Vidya. Veda Vidya only it is. So how can you say Vaidikaha Vyavaharaha Avidya Vishayeveti? What does Vaidika Vyavahara imply? It implies Karaka. So for a Vaidika Vyavahara to happen, suppose you are doing a Yajna, Putrakameshti or Karirishti or even simple Yaga you want to do. You need instruments, you need Ajyam, Havihi, whatever, right? And you need all the Karanams to do it. And then the fire has to be there. And you should also have a notion that I am doing this yaga, all that, right? No, that is a Vaidika Vyavahara. It is, it needs a Dvaita mindset. Then only you can do Vaidika Yaga Yajnadi Karma. Any Karma Kanda, anything in the Purva Bhaga that you have to do, it implies that you have to make an assumption that I am different from these things and I am in search of this result. Then only you can do a Vyavahara. Therefore, Vaidika Vyavahara from a Purva Karmakanda perspective is Avidya Vishaya. But what about the Vedanta? Is that Avidya Vishaya? Yes. Why? Because there also, what is your assumption? I am a Baddha. I am a Jivatma. I am bound by my karma and I am born in this world. I have to get liberated. For that, I need a guru. Then I need to listen to Shastra. Once Shastra is listened to, then I gain jnanam and then I get liberated. So all this implies what? Dvaita Buddhi. Now, this Dvaita Buddhi is assumed to be something, the Dvaita Jagat is presumed to be true, and with that only I have to start this pursuit of moksha also. That also I am doing it as within the avidya only, because paramarthatah there was never a jiva. Therefore, even the Vedanta pursuit also is avidya vishaya, because it is rooted on this belief that I am baddha, I am a jiva, all that. Tada na nirodha, nirodhanam, nirodha, pralayaha. Therefore, there is no pralaya, because for pralaya to be there, there should be utpatti. Okay, then there should be an existence of a gunavat object. Utpattihi jananam. There is nothing, no birth also. Na baddhaha samsari jivaha. There is no samsari jiva. All again paramartataha. Okay. So until you gain this knowledge, the baddhatvam, samsaritvam, all that is real only. I mean, whether you want it or not, it is real. But in the paramartha drishtya, there is no samsari, there is no sadhakaha, sadhanavan mokshasya, mumukshuhu, mochanarthi, the one who seeks liberation, freedom, muktaha, vimukta bandhaha, the one who is there a mukta purusha? What is this mukta purusha? Mukta purusha means there was a baddha purusha before, and then there is somebody who is now continuing with along with the knowledge. And what is this entity? All these questions come. So vimukta bandha, mukta purusha also is also avidya vishaya. Only from the people who are samsaris, you can say, they say that, oh, this is a mukta purusha. But the jnani, right, doesn't see either baddha or mukta purusha. Both are non-existent for that. So utpatti pralayayoho abhavat baddhadayaha na santi tyesha paramarthatah. Utpatti pralayayoho abhavat. So if there is no creation, there is no birth, there is no destruction, there is no resolution, then there is no abhavat baddhadayaha na santi. There is no bound people also. Okay. Katam utpatti pralayoho abhavaha. How can you say there is no utpatti and pralaya? Dvaitasya asatvat. So, utpatti pralaya means there should be attributes. In fact, Bhashyakara is going to say that. Let's quickly move because we have seen this. Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. First he quotes the Shastra. Dvaitam iva bhavati. There is as though dvaitam. There is as though pot, but there is only clay. Yaiha nana iva pashyati. This ivakara is where the focus is. There is as though nana. But what is the truth? Atmaiva idam sarvam. Brahmaiva idam sarvam ekameva advitiyam. Advitiyam is Brahma Atma. Idam sarvam yadayam Atma ityadi nana shrutibhyaha dvaitasya sattvam siddham. So from Pramana, Veda Pramana, it is showing that it is clear that there is no Dvaita. Sataha hi utpattihi pralayaha vasyat na asataha tasabhishanadehe. Okay, so this utpatti, then you will ask, hey, but Shruti itself is talking about Srishti, no? But that is only Prakriya. Because the moment you have to say there is Srishti, Utpatti Pralaya have to be said, then that means there is reality to it. Is pot born? Okay. So now this, let us look at it. Now pot is born. Is pot born? Earlier it was clay. 5 days back it was lump of clay. Then 4 days back it became a pot. So pot was born 4 days back. It is still a pot. But tomorrow I am going to break this pot and throw away what is left of it, because it has been used for its purpose. Okay. Now you can say the pot was born because it didn't exist before 4 days. It came into existence 4 days back and it will be gone tomorrow. So there is Utpatti, there is Pralaya. Even though you are saying there is no pot, it is born. Okay. Now, this is where if there is no pot itself, what you claim to be a pot is not an entity by itself. Okay. How can you say it was even born or it is going to die? Okay. It was. So if you ask the clay is going to say that 5 days back also it was only me which was there. Today also it is only me which is there. Tomorrow also it is only me, it is there. That's going to be there. Okay. Now you might ask this question, but still within time there was some change. So you at least you have to recognize that change happened between what was only a lump of clay and there is this as though pot. Okay. So at least that much you have to recognize. Now, in the case, it is true, okay, but that is not part of the example here, because you can't match it the same way with Brahma and Jagat. Okay, the whole Srishtivada, the time itself we are saying is Brahma. So at least in the case of pot and clay, there are other entities. Okay, there is clay and then there is space. So spatially, the lump was like this, and spatially the lump was made into this shape. Okay, there was space. Now the space has gone inside also, right? And also time, there is a dimension of time. There is a dimension of time. There is dimension of space. There is dimension of object, which together influences how the clay becomes a pot. But in the case of Brahma, the time itself is Brahmadinam. It is dependent on Brahma. Space also is dependent on Brahma. Objects are also on Brahma only. Therefore, it's a, you can't give this, you can't map it to this example of 4 days back it became pot. Okay. Because this 4 days back, at least there is an independent time reality other than the clay. Whereas in the case of Sat Brahma, time also is not an independent reality. That is also dependent on Brahman. So that's why this Agre Asit and all that also we need to recognize it differently. We can't think like a clay becoming part. Some days back it was purely Chidvastu, Sadvastu, and then within time it changed. No, that is not how we have to. Then if you recognize it that way, then Jnanam doesn't happen. Then you think that it is like one more object, like a clay. Okay. Sataha hi utpattihi pralayo vasyat. Within time, only this utpatti pralaya can be spoken about. What is beyond time, what is outside of time, where is the question of utpatti pralaya? Also, if there is no independent existence of its own, then where is it born? Na asataha sasavishanade. It's like rabbit's horn. It can't be born. Napi advaitam utpadyate praliyate va. Advaitam cha utpatti pralayavaccha iti vipratishiddham. Okay, Advaitam cannot be born. You can't say Advaitam and at the same time say it is born and it is destroyed. So look at what is born. Okay, one we saw pot. Forget pot. Okay, it is clay and pot. That always we are talking clay. Let us look at my cow has given birth to a calf. Let's take it that way. So now tell me this. Was there Utpatti of calf or not? Yeah, calf was born. It didn't exist before. Now, if something has to be said to be born, what it needed? It needed a mother, right? And then it has to come. It has to have food. Now, as a bija, it was there in an ox or whatever. Then it went into a cow, and then cow eats food. Then this calf is grown, and then it is born from the cow. And again there is food. The calf eats and it grows, and then it dies one day as a cow or ox or whatever, right? Now, it is not Advayam. It needs what? It needs multiple things for a calf to be born and sustained and go away. Okay, let's look at a tree being born. Again, there is a seed. Then it needs water. It needs the sand. It needs sun, whatever, right? Because anything which is born means it needs certain attributes to come into existence, right? It has to have a shape, it has to have a form, color, whatever, right? And then it comes into being, and then it also has to grow. For it to grow, again, it needs nourishment and all that. Okay, this is about living things. Let us take a fire is born. Okay, there is a matchbox. I just use a stick and then fire is born. Again, a fire to be born, what was there before? It was probably there as latent heat, right? And some things that have to burn. And now then fire is born, the heat is coming out and then it goes away. Again, for you to say that fire is born, it needs certain indhanam, okay, the fuel. Then it also has a form to say that it has come into being. Now, this Advayam, which is form, Advayam has to be formless, because if you have to say there is a form, there has to be a form and there is a perceiver of the form. Okay, there has to be two things at the minimum, right? And to distinguish one form, saying that this is blue, there should be something non-blue also, either a white or a red or a black or whatever, to even say that this is blue. Okay, so without nanatvam, without a second thing, you can't even identify something. Okay, because it has to be distinguished from everything else. Therefore, we call it a sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata bedam. Something has to be there. Swagata bedam has to be there. If a calf is born, it has legs and hair and whatever. Seed also there is swagata beda. And then there is a sajatiya beda, vijatiya beda. It is different from everything else, right? Therefore, all these have to be there to even say something is born. In fact, even to say that something grows or exists. Okay, so this Niravaya Vastu, if it is Advaitam, if there is no second thing, then there is no possibility of guna, there is no possibility of name, shape, form, whatever. So if there is no name, shape, form, you can't say that there was a Utpatti, because to say there is a Utpatti, you should be able to identify this is how it was there before this point in time. This is how it is there after this point in time. Therefore, the point in time separates attribute that you are perceiving. Okay, that means Dvaitam, at least minimum of the observer and observed has to be there. And what is observed also, for it to be recognized, there should be at least more than one thing has to be there. If it is blue, if I have to say it is blue, there needs to be a black. right? Or a white, whatever. So without a second, Utpatti Pralaya is impossible. What Bhashyakara says. Advaitam cha Utpatti Pralayavacchaiti Vipratisiddham. There is an oxymoron. Okay. It is not possible to make this kind of a statement, he says. Therefore, yastu punaha dvaita savyavaharaha saha rajju sarpavate atmani pranadi lakshanaha kalpitaha iti uktam. Nahi manovikalpanayaha rajju sarpadi lakshanayaha rajvam pralayaha utpattirva nacha manasi rajju sarpasya utpattihi pralayo va nacha ubhayato va. He says Dvaita Samvyavaharaha, this whole Dvaita Vyavahara which is there, that is like superimposed on Atma, like a Rajju being superimposed with the Sarpa Dandadaradi. Similarly, everything is superimposed on Atma Kalpitaha iti Uktam, it has been told. But if it is Kalpita, then there are three possibilities, okay, of birth. Suppose there is Rajju, on Rajju there is a Sarpa Kalpana. The snake is born in the rope. The superimposed snake, suppose, is born in the rope. And that superimposition is only a Manokalpana. Then the birth, can it happen on the rope? Is your Kalpita Rajju, Sarpa, born on the Rajju? Is the imagined snake actually born on the rope? Or is it born in your mind? Or is it born both in your mind and on the rope? Okay, these are the three possibilities. So the imagined snake, where can it be born? The actual snake can be born right from the egg or whatever, right? But this imagined snake means it is in your mind. So this mentally imagined snake, is it born on the rope? It can't be born in the rope. If it is an imagined snake, it is imagined only by you, right? You imagine a snake there, somebody else imagines a stick there, someone else imagines a dara. So the birth of that imagined snake cannot be in the rope. Can it be in your mind? So nothing is born in the mind itself. Okay, the mental, you can't say a snake was born in his mind. Okay, it's only an error that is happening. Nor at the same time a snake is born in your mind as well as in the rope there. So that is how he is dissecting this imaginary world birth. Okay, there is no birth or anything. It is just an error. Tata Manasatva Avisheshat Dvaitasya. Okay, so the Dvaitam also is Manasam only, just like your imagined snake on the rope. Now this question is, this is Ishvara Srishti. This is not Jiva Srishti. It's not because I am seeing sun and moon, there is sun and moon. Okay. So everybody is seeing sun and moon. So if everybody is seeing sun and moon, you can't tell me that I am imagining this. Okay, so that is why Bhashyakara says, I am only talking about Manasatvam of this experience, world experience. Okay, it is only Vritti Atmakam. Because it is Vritti Atmakam, there is a Manasatvam there. So to that extent, they are both similar, is how you have to understand. Okay, so Manasatva Avisheshatu. Manasatvam is same between Kalpita Sarpa and the world that you are seeing. Okay. Nahi niyate manasi sushukteva. Now the question is, how do you say it is Manasatvam? Whether my mind sees or not, isn't the world existing? So he gives the view here. Niyate manasi. When you are in a deep meditation, you have stopped your mind. Okay. This is your mano nasha. They talk about this, right? Nirodha. Chitta vritti nirodha. So when you have stopped all the vrittis, when you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Niyate Manasi or Sushupti, in a deep sleep, Dvaitam na Grishyate. Dvaitam is not seen. So Ataha Manovikalpana Matram Dvaitam iti Siddham. You exist. but the mind doesn't exist. Because mind doesn't exist as in mind, there is no mental activity which is existing at that time in deep sleep or when you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So without mental activity, world doesn't exist. But without mental activity also you exist. Atma exists eva. So in deep sleep also mind is not active, but you exist. So death also, after death that mind is gone. There is no activity. Therefore the world is not seen by that particular deha, deha karyakarana sangata, right? But Atmavastu continues to be there. That is one way of looking at it. Okay. It's like, because I'm just extending this niyate manasi shushuptevaha, to extend it. So for you to see the world, you need mental activity. But for you to exist, you don't need mind. Okay, that is the point. Niyate manasi shushupteva dvaitam na grihyate, ataha manovikalpana matram dvaitam iti siddham. The dvaitam is manovikalpana matram. Advaitam is swataha, is always there. Tasmat suktam dvaitasya asatvat nirodadi abhavaha paramarthatha. So this ultimately, if you see all this nirodha, utpattihi, baddha, muktaha, mumukshuhu, all these things are dependent on dvaitam. Without dvaitam, these things cannot exist. Because what is not dvaitam, but it is advaitam brahma. So paramarthatah, there is no nirodha or utpattihi, na baddha, na muktaha, mumukshuhu. All those are not the brahma. Yadi evam dvaita bhave shastra. Then this question, I think I almost repeated the same thing we had in the last class. I think we stopped at this point only. Anyway, that's okay, because 3.5 months we have not had the class. It's okay to revise this. Still, this was the statement we stopped the last class with. I think yadi evam dvaita bhave shastra vyaparaha na advaite virodhatu tata cha sati advaitasya vastutve pramanaabhavat शून्यवाद प्रसंगः द्वैतस्य च अभावः. So he asks a question. We'll stop with this question. The question is, you are saying Dvaita is not there. That is what Shastra is trying to show. All yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati, naiha nana iva pasyati. All this is quoted. And you are also saying Dvaitasya satvat na nirodha na utpattihi na baddha na vaimuktaha na mumukshuhu. Everything you are saying. So Dvaita abhava is what is the Shastra Vyapara, not in Advaita, because Advaita is not even available for Vyapara. That is the case. Tatacha sati Advaitasya vastutve pramana bhava. There is see, if Shastra also is not showing Advaita vastu. Your Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, all these also are not going to show you Advaita vastu. Whatever you are is shown to you by those are only Dvaita vastu. You can look at a book or a chair or sun or a moon or a mountain. That only your Pratyaksha, the Pramanas can give you. We thought at least Shastra is going to show you this Advaitam Brahma. Okay. You keep on saying Shastraika Gamyam, Shastraika Gamyam. Now, at least Shastra should show, okay, this is what is Advaitam. Look at this. See, like in Tirupati Venkateshwara, like that, it has to show, oh, this is Advaita Brahma. Then, okay, fine, I can understand. But you are saying, Dvaita abhave Shastra Vyaparaha na Advaite tatacha sati Advaitasya vastutve pramana bhavat. There is no means by which I am going to know this Advaita Brahma. Therefore, you are already negating all the Dvaita. So Dvaita is also not there. Advaita also you are not going to show. That means Shunyavada Prasangaha. Okay. All that is here is only Sunya. So Bhashyakara, first let's just quickly see that reply and then we'll see in detail in the next session. Na Rajjuvat Sarpadi Kalpanayaha Niraspadatve Anupapattihi iti pratyuktam etat katam ujjivayasi iti. Some people keep on coming back to same argument. Okay. After they get cornered on everything, then they'll come to the same thing. Like Visishta Dvaiti, Dvaiti and all, you go and ask them, they'll say, how will the pramana prapti? This, there is no jnanam possible that there is Advayam Brahma. If there is only Advaitam, how can there be a teacher and student? Same, the Satyam Mithya problem only they will have. Immediately they will go back to the same question. Similarly, here this fellow is coming back. Why? How can you say? So Bhashyakara says, already we have said, Niraspadam, there cannot be superimposition. You can't superimpose a snake on a non-existent rope. Okay, something has to be there on which you have to superimpose. At least here there is a superimposition is on Atma. Okay, you are taking yourself to be something else. So something has to be there for you to superimpose things on it. Okay, that has been already said. Niraspada, without any aspada, there cannot be a snake adhyasa. Has been said. Why are you reviving the same argument again? He gets Shastra. Bhashyakara is little frustrated. He says, Katam ujjivayasi. We have already dismissed this objection. So why are you again raising the same thing? He asks, but this fellow says, no, here I am talking slightly different. What? Rajuhu api sarpa vikalpasya aspada bhuta kalpita eveti trishtantanupapattihi. He says, see, earlier you dismissed saying that sarpa needs a rajju. Okay. Therefore, like rajju, here also an aspada is needed, you are saying. But I am saying now that rajju also for you is mithya only. No, rajju also doesn't exist. You are saying it, nothing exists. So therefore, for you, no snake nor there is rope, because you are saying there is no dvaita, there is no guna, nothing is there. So where is even your example? Because your example itself is void. Your example of Rajju Sarpa I don't accept, because for you Rajju itself doesn't exist. Forget Sarpa existing. Okay, then there is no example. So there also Shunyam, here also Shunyam. No. So now that is what I am raising, is what this fellow says. Let's see what answer Bhashyakara gives. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.